Cradle, The Rise of the Chosen, Chapter 26, Part 2. They winded through the Pt2 forest and into the Talut expanse until they reached the forested border of Hartford and stopped in the Green Valley. Josh had been with him the entire last 12 hours of the 3-day trip and had been there and gone a few times throughout. He told the entire group of 20 workers, assistants, and security force to camp in the valley while he, Taikuma, and Gianoa entered the city. He assured them they hadn't been spotted yet and urged them to surrender if found and shown aggression. Taikuma could smell soy sauce and fish cooking from an apartment on the city street, or it could have been one of the quaint restaurants up the block. A billboard displaying Frank's Cola stood in crimson and white on top of a 10-story building to the south of the block. Pt2 ayo jami. What are your feelings? Josh asked Gianoa. She shrugged and said, "Being old, the same as before." Josh laughed and shook his head. Wa'an ji'in ul bi. Then I hope you're wrong. As they walked through the city, Taikuma started to feel a surprisingly more pleasant feeling. The vines on the buildings gave off a peaceful atmosphere. The music coming from some of the open windows of the cars created motion internally, and the wares of the shops looked resplendent and intricate. Hu GM, huh? City life, huh? Josh remarked. Gianoa smiled and nodded. Taikuma shrugged. Well, we're here, Josh informed. He pointed to a small office in the middle of the visibly aging block. Muni kal Pt2 rahara. What? An insurance company? Taikuma asked and looked at Josh and then Gianoa in confusion. Josh nodded. Plunka io dala. Don't eat with your eyes so much, he said. Josh waved them on from the front and they entered the dusty-smelling office's reception area. The large pane windows were streaky at best, and there was no decoration, just an old office desk where a dark brown-skinned woman in a floral plattern blouse sat with her hair in a black bun. She was chewing gum and flipping through some sort of binder. Josh stood a couple of feet in front of her desk and straightened his black waistcoat. Auntie, may I help you? She asked, finally looking up at Josh. Mi niti. Io dirigi wien. I need to talk to your boss, Josh said respectfully. Hahaki, him niji ul. Forgive me. How's your day going? He greeted. She looked at him flatly for a moment and then smiled cheerfully. Daoni maj, doing fine. Ti ol aniit bikuju kioji. What type of business do you have? She asked and looked over Josh's shoulder at Taikuma and Gianoa. Gianit, kalmi, iol, bienu. I can't speak on it, but it is very, very lucrative, Josh said and rubbed his thumb and index finger together sensationally. The receptionist thought for a moment and then looked back at Taikuma and Gianoa, whom nodded and smiled. She stood up and tilted her head toward the white painted door to the right behind her desk and then knocked on the door firmly as if it were a common occurrence. Blue Cho, come in, a man's voice said from a distance behind the door. Unkiini, your name? She asked Josh. Leo Iki, Josh. Just call me Josh, he answered. She opened the door and a man with a bald pate with medium-length hair on his side looked upon them and squinted as if confused. He had brown skin and wore suspenders and a white work shirt with the sleeves rolled up just below his elbows. Quinta, Jolni, Yami, Il, Josh, Tiami, Biondi, Pishal. Mr. Jolni, I show you Josh. He has a very, very lucrative offer, she explained, and then nodded at Jolni and left the room, closing the door with a soft snap.